Thank you, members. I'm pleased to join my colleague in celebrating Charter Day. If you haven't ever seen the Charter, it is a fascinating document, very large, scrolled together with a buckle that holds it together. In fact, you can see the impression on the skin of the Charter from the seal. It is protected. It is a treasure in Pennsylvania. Just some interesting facts about the Charter. Originally, the king sent the request that William Penn had for Pennsylvania to the Lords of Trade and Plantations. And he ended up receiving the largest tract of unsettled property, which was between what would become Delaware, Maryland, and New York. Lord Baltimore, who was the proprietor of Maryland, and James, the Duke of York, who administered the peninsula between the Delaware Bay and the Chesapeake Bay, were involved. There is some lore, and it may be true, that the Charter was actually used to help establish the boundary, which would between Maryland and Pennsylvania. And so it was the authentic document, and if you didn't have this original document, you couldn't establish that. Ultimately, that border was established as a result later because of the Mason-Dixon line. The Charter itself is made of hide, and it was scraped with lime, stretched and dried, then usually cut to a large rectangular shape and written on. Ink was made of iron gall, a ground assortment of chemicals primarily consisting of iron filings and pulverized gales, a leaf tumor created by wasps when laying eggs. Pennsylvania's charter is probably on sheepskin, and its text was written with iron gall ink, factors which make it a unique document. Well, what happened to the charter itself is rather interesting, because Penn's family was deemed to be English loyalists, and so their property was taken from them after the American Revolution, and ultimately it was obtained by a Philadelphia lawyer, John Coates, who went to England and demanded that the document be returned, ultimately to be turned over to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. As my colleague mentioned, the key to Pennsylvania was this was a settlement of a debt that was owed by the government to his father, who was an admiral. And William Penn was very concerned about religious freedoms. And so on October 28th of 1701, he authored a document that took the rights that he had into Pennsylvania and transferred them to the Commonwealth and its citizens to protect religious freedom and against wrongful prosecution. So this is the beginnings of an important document in our history that ultimately leads us to be able to serve in this wonderful chamber. Thank you for helping celebrate Charter Day.